The war room of the Krath battleship destroyer's Pride hummed with tension. Commander Vector, a towering figure of scaled muscle and battle-worn armor, stood before the holographic display showing the shattered remains of outpost Zeta-7. His forearms crossed in disgust as he addressed his assembled officers. Pathetic. He growled, his voice like grinding stone. The humans sent only one fragile creature to defend an entire mining colony, and my warriors couldn't even capture it. The Krath were the galaxy's premier shock troops, 9 feet of armored predator, bred for conquest across 3 star systems. They'd never lost a ground engagement, never. Until 3 days ago, when they'd attacked what intelligence reported as a lightly defended human mining operation on the ice moon of Thresh 9. Seer? Lieutenant Zarkoth ventured carefully. The human. It fought unlike anything we've encountered. Our soldiers reported. Your soldiers reported excuses! Vector slammed a clawed fist onto the console. 12 Krath warriors, fully armed, against 1 soft-skinned human. And somehow sum up. That creature is still alive while 6 of my best are in medical pods and 3 are dead. The hologram shifted, showing grainy combat footage. The human appeared on screen, a male, maybe 6 feet tall, wearing nothing but torn thermal gear and a breather mask. No armor, no visible weapons, just flesh and determination. Freeze that image, Vector commanded. The hologram paused. The human's exposed arms showed scars, dozens of them. Long, jagged lines that spoke of claws. Burn marks from energy weapons. What looked like old bite marks healed over time. Those scars. One of the younger officers whispered. How does something so soft survive injuries like that? Vector leaned closer to the display. He'd fought for 40 standard years across 100 worlds. He recognized warrior markings when he saw them. But these weren't decorative. These were survival records. Play the engagement, he ordered. The footage began. The Krath strike team had breached the colony's main dome, expecting quick surrender. Instead, the human had been waiting. What followed shouldn't have been possible. The human moved through the facility like water through cracks, never where the Krath expected, always 1 step ahead. It used the environment as a weapon, venting atmosphere to freeze assault rifles, overloading power conduits to create explosive traps, even turning the colony's mining equipment into improvised artillery. When forced into direct combat, the human fought with a savagery that made even Vector's battle-hardened officers flinch. It had torn a breathing tube from a fallen Krath and used the pressurized oxygen as a flamethrower. When cornered in the processing bay, it had sealed itself in a refrigeration unit at minus 60 degrees, temperatures that would kill most species, and waited 8 hours until the Krath search team gave up and moved on. Impossible, breathed Zarkoth. That cold would cause cellular death in minutes. Even we couldn't survive that. But the footage continued. The human had emerged from its frozen hiding spot, stalked the Krath team through the corridors, and systematically eliminated them using nothing but improvised weapons and the facility itself. A mining drill became a spear. Cleaning chemicals became acid. Even the low gravity was weaponized, the human moving with an agility that made the heavily armored Krath seem clumsy by comparison. The final moments showed the human standing over 3 dead Krath warriors, breathing hard, covered in both its own blood and theirs. It had looked directly at the camera, those soft human eyes burning with something Vector recognized all too well. The will to survive. At any cost. Bring up the human's identification, Vector ordered quietly. The hologram shifted. Jams Reves, age 34 Earth years. Occupation mining engineer. Military service known. No military training. Vector's voice was barely a whisper. Correct, sir. Civilian. Colony records show he requested this posting specifically. Wanted isolation, apparently. Vector studied the human service record. 5 different colonies. Each one remote, dangerous, on the edge of explored space. Each one attacked at least once by pirates, raiders, or hostile species. And each time James Reeves had been listed as a survivor. Pull up his medical records. The data made several officers step back from the display. Broken bones, dozens of them, all healed. Radiation exposure that should have been fatal. Frostbite, heat stroke, decompression, trauma, chemical burns, and infections from a dozen different alien pathogens. The human should have died 100 times over. He keeps going to dangerous places. Zarkoth observed. Why would any creature deliberately seek out environments that could kill it? Vector was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, understanding dawned. Because that's where his kind evolved. Earth, pull up their homeworld. The holographic display showed a blue-green planet, beautiful from orbit. But the data told a different story. Extreme temperature variations, massive storms, tectonic instability, thousands of species all competing, all predators to something else. And humans, soft, weak, without natural armor or weapons, had somehow climbed to the top of that nightmare world's food chain. They didn't just survive Earth, Vector said softly. They dominated it. Every scar on that human's body is a lesson learned. Every near-death experience made him harder to kill. We sent warriors. He sent evolution. Sir, what are your orders? Zarka asked. Vector straightened, his forearms dropping to his sides. Send a communication to the human. Under truce flag. Sir, that's not prey down there, Lieutenant. That's an apex predator that learned to use tools. The Krath don't hunt things that hunt back better than we do. Tell James Reeves he can keep his mining colony. And tell him, Vector paused, something like respect creeping into his voice. Tell him the Krath acknowledge a fellow warrior when we see one. 3 hours later, James Reeves stood in the shattered colony's command center, reading the message on his cracked data pad. A truce. A withdrawal. An acknowledgement from one of the galaxy's most feared warrior races. He laughed, short, bitter, exhausted. Then he pulled off his thermal jacket, exposing the fresh injuries from the fight alongside the old scars that decorated his arms like a roadmap of survival. Apex predator, he muttered, wincing as he applied medical gel to a plasma burn. I'm just a guy who's too stubborn to die quietly. But somewhere in the depths of space, Commander Vector was updating the Krath military database with a new entry AMANS. Classification Hastil, Threat Level XTRE, Recommendation AVUIDNGGME. Because the galaxy's greatest warriors had finally learned what Earth's extinct predators learned millennia ago: never corner a human. They don't know how to quit, and they're far more dangerous than they look. James Reeves, mining engineer, sat down heavily in his chair, staring at the stars beyond the breach, dumb. Somewhere out there, humanity was spreading across the galaxy, soft and weak and absolutely, terrifyingly unkillable. And the universe was just beginning to understand what that meant.